Hello, beautiful, soulful beings. I made a post this morning. We need more men with the embodied capacity to receive highly concentrated truth and love. A friend and someone that I love dearly and respect a lot, Vito Mucci, he had commented, I'm starting to feel like there's a new way of framing this because I'm starting to sow the relationship house, showing up bigger and bigger in my heart's eye. Can we just applaud a man for talking about his heart's eye? If a man has a lot of content to work through with the feminine, maybe he would be better served focusing on the house as much as his counterpart, like entering the house to reach the feminine rather than entering through the feminine. It's vague for me still, but it feels like it busts up some content. Any vibes on that? Yes. I have so much that I want to say in response to this, which is why I'm going to respond through this video. Tending to the house is to nest her, right? Like, think about it like a woman who is pregnant and she's about to have her baby and she's creating the space for the baby. She's in her nesting phase. There's supposed to be a nesting phase that the masculine moves through to tend to the feminine, to tend to his counterpart. This can look like provision of providing a safe space for her, right? To be in her full feminine glory. Also providing even a physical home for her can be a part of that. There's many layers to this nesting effect, and because home represents so much, like we can look at home through a multitude of lenses, not just as a house, but like your physical body is a home, your nervous system is a home, your relationship has its own space that is a home, right? So if we look at this also through the lens of the nervous system, and in my teachings I talk about the masculine held nervous system, and I point to the fact that the masculine is actually meant to be responsible for the collective nervous system, which of course can have a lot of pushback in the sense that that's a large load to carry and responsibility that men's capacities have not reached yet, but that doesn't make it less true. And if we look at the actual responsibility the masculine is meant to hold, right, in his divine roles, then it points to what he's actually capable of. I'm actually speaking to masculine power. So when we look at this through the nervous system, a man, when he is creating through the space of the home, okay, and it's like he's therefore tending to his body, he's tending to his multitudes of bodies, not just his physical body, but like the emotional body, the mental body. This means that he is tending to the conditioning within him. He's actually cleaning up his own internal space, which is to clean up the house. So think of this way. If there's a man and he has a home and it is like hoarder's paradise, it is freaking filled to the brim with a bunch of debris, and then he invites a woman into a relationship with him and he's like, hey, come over to my home. When she steps into his home, how is she going to feel? Not very fucking good. And probably not confident about their relationship. And it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to take on the responsibility, the load of all of this hoarding that you've been doing for the last however number of years. This is what a lot of women are expected to step into with men, emotionally labor, clean it up for them, clean up their house. So this is also what Vito is like, from my perception, what he's pointing to. Well, what if a man is tending to his home into his counterpart? He's not expecting her to emotionally labor for him because he's tending to his home alongside of contributing into and tending to the relationship itself. Because when you are attempting to retrieve your masculinity through the feminine, And there are healthy ways, there are truly healthy ways of initiation and pathways to do this. I talk about it a lot in my work. But then there's there's the unhealthy versions of this. It's like, oh, if you took all of your hoarding, okay, now you have your house and you're like in this relationship with this woman and you're like, okay, now we're gonna move in together. And you took all your hoarding and you brought it into her home. This is also, again, what is ongoingly happening, where men are bringing all of their stuff and they're bringing it into the temple of the feminine, into her house, into her home, into and through her body. This is what men are unconsciously, subconsciously requesting from the feminine ongoingly. It is being so normalized, and we're being gaslit out of this actually happening, that people aren't seeing it. They're not validating it, which is why I teach these things and I illuminate them and I point to them. When a man takes his conditioning and brings it into the relational space, and then he is expecting that his woman emotionally labor for him in some way, shape, or form, he is actually taking his distortions and pressing it into her body and expecting her body to do his work for him. Okay? So this is again why, if you tend to the house, you are keeping the feminine safe. You are honoring her. You are contributing to her rather than holding entitlement and expectation and forcing your things onto and into her. So before it gets to her body, right, it's like you want her to have a beautiful space of nesting. You want her to feel safe. The feminine essence and her radiance amasses when the masculine holds proper containment, which is a part of his responsibility, which is a part of tending to the house, because he creates structure, building structures, not just physically like a physical house or home. He creates structure energetically, which means that when he is creating structure and he's bringing subconscious or unconscious material into a relational space, he will create, through his energetic ability to build, distortions, fields of distortion that surround her. That is the opposite of creating a safe space for the feminine essence to bloom and to radiate and to emanate and to be what it is that she is here to be. So if a man doesn't tend to his house in the ways that I'm speaking about it, he is also not able to tend to the feminine. And if he expects to arrive to himself in an embodied place of heartedness, reception, and capacity for love and truth, by bypassing the house piece, his house, and doing all of that work through her and her body, this is actually a form of infiltration that is irreverent and dishonoring of the feminine, and it will not lead him into the spaces of transformation that are genuinely needed, because you need the foundations themselves to be clean to fully arrive into this space. So an example, if a man attempts to bypass the house, he will not be able to hold a safe space in his body, in his nervous system, which holds the relationship, which holds the feminine in her own safety and radiance. And if he does not do that, he is outside of a masculine role that he is meant to fulfill. And if he is out of his role, he is asking her to fulfill it herself. So these are just a few things that I have to say in response to Vito's inquiry. Love you, Vito, so much. Appreciate you. If you guys don't follow him, definitely follow Vito Mucci. He's great. And then, of course, if you have any kind of comments relative to this video, do comment. It helps me build my audience. Share. Speak praises over my name. I have an event coming up, which is so rare. because it is a public immersive. So it's not an immersive just for those who are in my membership group. I am opening it up to the public. It's about recentering the feminine. These immersives are so amazing. Like, you're not just gonna receive a transmission with deep coding. I'm gonna invite you into an actual experiential process to deepening, grounding, integrating, digesting the understandings inside of the experience itself. So I highly recommend that you take this opportunity and step into it. It's $88, so freaking low, 2 to 3 hour immersive. And if you know anyone who may benefit from that, then definitely share. The recentering of the feminine immersive is not just for women. This is also for men. It is essential that we have men that are stepping in and they are receiving the oracular wisdom of the feminine that recalibrates him to recenter into what the true masculine actually is. So men, this is also for you. As always, so much love to each and every one of you.